Hello, dear students. As uh, as I have said in the previous class, that today we are going to begin with a new chapter, mutual fund. Okay, so this is the fifth chapter of your syllabus, mutual funds. So again, there are two chapters. Okay, fourth chapter is dividend policy, and the sixth one is uh, a state analysis of financial statements. These two chapters I have left because of uh, there is a rumor of resuming offline classes very soon. So because of that reason, for the offline classes, I have kept these two chapters, and we don't know uh, when exactly the offline classes will begin. Okay, but for the time being, I'm concentrating over the theoretical concept here. Okay, so this is the mutual fund, and very important. Definitely, you are going to get theoretical questions on this chapter for the examination. So let us begin with this chapter now. In this session, we are going to learn why mutual funds. Okay, why mutual funds, since it is a theoretical concepts, a theoretical chapter. So I'll break down my session, this session particularly. Okay, we are concentrating under this session to find out the answers for few questions. So why mutual funds, um, meaning of mutual funds, meaning of mutual funds, then uh, formation and management of mutual funds, formation and management of mutual funds, as well as operation and operations of mutual funds. Then we are about to discuss on the topic called parties to a mutual fund. Parties to a mutual funds. If time permits, definitely we are going to see each parties in detail. Okay, so if not, I'm going to wind up till the parties to a mutual funds. Okay, fine. Now let us proceed with the first question. Okay, why mutual funds? Why mutual funds? Now, why there is existence of mutual funds? To give answer to this question, let me start with the uh, simple questions. Okay, I'm going to ask a few questions. You have to answer yourself. Okay, of course, this is the one-way communication. You need not answer. Okay, but just think of it. Now, suppose if I ask, being a potential investor, suppose if I ask with you, okay, some of the questions which are related to investment, like which shares at present, which shares are very good to invest, or at present, in which sector, if I invest in shares, that in short term or maybe in long term, that I'm going to get very good returns. If I ask these kind of questions to you, even though you are a commerce student, definitely you are not in a position to give answers. Okay, so that means investment in equity shares and debt instruments needs to have fundamental technical expertise. presence of number of companies. There are various numbers of companies in the stock exchange. They are listed in the stock exchange. So that makes a complex task of selecting. That means a potential investor or the person who is willing to invest in certain shares and securities, or probably in shares and securities, he must have a thorough knowledge of fundamental and technical analysis. So in even if a person is not having any fundamental and technical expertise, in that situation definitely he will face one or another problem while um, getting a gain over his investment. So that's the problem. Even though we are commerce students, definitely we lack in this aspect. Now, one thing is clear now. So investment in equity shares and debt instruments that requires fundamental and technical knowledge. Okay, fine. So we'll keep this thing in the side here. Okay, need of technical and fundamental knowledge. Now further, investor needs to have each and every information at up to a maximum extent to get a maximum gain over the investment. So he needs to know what is going on, maybe probably in the company, probably in the economy. Okay, so each and every information you must have. Only in that situation the maximum gain on investment could be possible. Okay, so lack of knowledge, we can say lack of knowledge. Okay, lack of knowledge probably of economy. Okay, economy, or maybe of company. Okay, maybe related to company, so whatsoever, but lack of knowledge. So that makes, or that what you know that's lack of knowledge seeks potential investors towards mutual funds. Definitely lack of technical analysis and lack of analysis of fundamental analysis, so that seeks, or that prompts investor towards the mutual funds, opting mutual funds. Then we'll see some other factors. Okay, see, if I investor, if he wants to invest directly into the equities, definitely investor faces problems in reading annual reports, right? Annual reports, analysis of yeah, fundamental analysis, technical analysis. Moreover, sometimes the individual who is intended to invest in shares may not be having the required funds to purchase shares directly. Okay, so these are all the certain difficulties that are faced by the potential investors. You take an example of MRF. Okay, MRF company shares. Now at present they are trading at the rate of 80,000 rupees per share. So if I want to invest in MRF, of course it is a very good company, so which is having a history of rewarding dividend at the rate of 540%. Okay, not 10%, 20% out of their profit. They are having a track record of giving dividend in some 300%, 400% on their profits. So that's a very good. MRF is a very good company. Suppose if I want to invest in MRF, I may not be having sufficient funds. Okay, because of the market price of the MRF shares. So it is trading at 80,000 plus. Okay, so in that situation, what I will do, definitely I'm going to seek mutual funds, right? Suppose if I am having a monthly savings, so not monthly income. Suppose if I save monthly rupees 2,000 or 5,000 rupees, and at present the rate of RD and rate of FD for that matter, it is very minimum. And definitely because of the compound growth in the share market, um, suppose if I attract invest I suppose if I feel and if I attracted towards the investment in shares and securities, and because of lack of funds and because of technical and fundamental knowledge and because of lack of knowledge over the economy and company, lack of certain technical things, definitely I prefer going for mutual funds. So these are all the reasons why mutual funds are in existence. Okay, now let us concentrate further. Okay, now shares, suppose because of this reason, okay, because of the above said reason, like lack of technical and fundamental knowledge, lack of knowledge of over the economy and company, lack of knowledge how to read annual reports. Okay, so because of these drawbacks or because of these lackingness, investors um, prefer mutual funds. As I said earlier, investors definitely they prefer mutual funds, and mutual funds do all these activities because under the mutual funds there are sufficient number of employees who are specially assigned to do this kind of work. Okay, they do technical analysis, they do fundamental analysis. Okay, they do research over the economy, they do research over the company's growth. Okay, and each and everything they'll do on behalf of the subscriber of the mutual funds, and they attract the investment from the investors. Okay, so mutual funds are nothing but it's an indirect way to invest in equity shares. Suppose if I am lacking in all the knowledge which is related to shares and securities, I can purchase mutual funds units. Okay, by maybe by doing a SIP. SIP is nothing but system SIP. We call it as SIP. It is nothing but systematic investment plan. It is nothing but just simply like a RD. Okay, every month you are going to invest 2,000. Every month you may be it will start from minimum of 500 rupees. Okay, every month you can invest 500 rupees. Okay, so maximum tenure will be, it depends, maximum tenure usually it is 5 years. Okay, and you can continue as many years you want. Okay, so you can continue, but the minimum amount of investment is 500 rupees maximum. So there is no limit. But instead of SIP or systematic investment plan, you can do a one time investment also. Okay, simply keeping your 50,000 1 lakh rupees in any nationalized banks as a fixed deposit, you can directly invest in any mutual funds depending upon your risk bearing capacity. Okay, and definitely after certain years, maybe 5 years or maybe 10 years, definitely you are going to get very good handsome returns. Okay, so this is about the reason why mutual funds are in existence. Okay, now in a nutshell, mutual funds, they, as I've said, they do lot of activities on behalf of the investors. Okay, they fill the gap, that means the lack of knowledge, that thing they are going to fill, and definitely they look after uh, uh, to give the maximum returns to the uh, investors. Okay, now here mutual funds minimizes the risk for the investors by doing certain activities. Okay, so all these activities are clubbed together, and we can mention in four functions. So first one is, mutual funds are having the staffs who are experts in the field. They are having expert knowledge in the field, and they do all the work on behalf of the investors. That means, so expertise in equity shares and debt instruments. So now here they do lot of things. Okay, so technical analysis they do fundamental analysis, they do research on economy. Okay, they do research on company growth, company potentiality. Okay, so each and every aspect that they'll take care of. Now the second thing, they pool money from the small investors. Pooling of money from small investors. Now, how this works, pooling of money from small investors. As I said earlier, suppose if I am willing to invest in um, MRF shares, but if I won't be having sufficient amount in that situation, so what happens here in this case of mutual fund is they are going to collect money from the similar investors, and they may invest in the shares of the MRF, and then so whatever gain arises they are going to distribute to the ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಈಗ MRF ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇದೆ. MRF ಶೇರ್ಸ್ 80,000 ಪರ್ ಶೇರ್ ಓಡ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ MRF ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಂಪನಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಡೀತದೆ. ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಗೆ MRF ಅನ್ನ ನಾನು ತಗೊಳ್ತೇನೆ. ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಈಗ 80,000 ಅಷ್ಟು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಆಗ್ತೇನೆ. ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಅವರು ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವರು ಹೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಸೊ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 5,000 rupees ಅನ್ನ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳು. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಹಾಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೊ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ 5,000 ಹಾಗೆ ಒಂದು ಲಕ್ಷ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳು. ಎಲ್ಲರ ಹತ್ರ ಹಣ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರು ಆ ಹಣವನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ MRF ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬಾ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳು. ಓಕೆ, ಒಂದು 10-20 ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, 20 ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದವರಿಗೆ ಏನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಶೇರ್ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ, ಯೂನಿಟ್ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ವರ್ಷ ಹೋದ ನಂತರ ಈ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನ ರಿಡೀಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ರಿಡೀಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಕೂಡಲೇ ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ನೆಟ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಆ ನೆಟ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಎಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಬರ್ತದೋ ಅಷ್ಟನ್ನ, ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬೋನಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬೋನಸ್, ಸೊ ಏನಿದೆ ಸೊ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತದೆ, ನೆಟ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಪಾನ್ ದ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಫ್ಲಕ್ಚುಯೇಷನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ನೆಟ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಎಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಪೂಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಮನಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ mobilization of funds, and then investment in the bunch of securities. So this is about the second thing the mutual funds they do. Okay, then the third one is they introduce various types of investment schemes which are suitable to the investors. Okay, various types of investment scheme. See here, as I have said earlier, and you are knowing that only equity. Okay, so there is not only a presence of equity, so there is also presence of debt instruments. Okay, and an investor can select according to their risk bearing capacity. Okay, so investors can select the schemes according to their risk bearing capacity. Suppose if I am a risk averse investor, I may prefer debt mutual funds. So there are various mutual fund schemes which are dealing with the debt instruments. Debt instruments are nothing but usually, so there are again two or three categories are there. Corporate bonds, okay, corporate bonds. G securities. G securities is nothing but government securities. Usually the return of the debt instruments or debt securities which is very minimum, so maybe hardly 4% per annum. Okay, usually annual return would be 4%, only that much, because these are risk-free securities. So you, whenever the risk is low, definitely the return, the expected return would be lower. So whenever the risk is high, the return, we should expect a higher return. So on that basis here, the return of the debt scheme, so usually it is moderate, okay, in the sense 4 to 5%, only that much. Suppose if you are a risk averse investor, definitely you can seek. Suppose if you are not ready to what you know if you are not ready to bear the risk, or maybe if you are around the age of 40 years or maybe 50 or 60, like that, okay, you are on your retirement, you have a lot of money, and investment in equity shares, definitely it is riskier, okay, don't know when you are going to kick your bucket. So in that situation, it is better to opt for debt instruments, okay, investment in debt schemes. So usually you will get a nice or a moderate return which is risk free, okay. Those kind of investors can prefer debt schemes, fine. And there are certain investors, so they are ready to take risk, so maybe they are at their early 30s or maybe 20s, so like that, okay. In that situation, they can invest in equity schemes. Usually in the case of equity schemes, the risk is higher, uh, and as the return is also, okay, the risk is higher, so usually you can expect higher returns. And again, under equity there are various schemes, okay. Mid cap, medium term, the four companies which are having a medium term capital, um, blue chip, okay, blue chip scheme is nothing but the it consists of the company shares which are consistently rewarding dividend to its shareholders, okay. They are called as blue chip companies, and they are earning profit continuously. Those kind of companies are called as blue chip companies, and their shares are called as blue chip company shares, okay. And again, small cap, okay, aggressive. So they are going to break up the schemes like this: mid cap companies investment, mid cap scheme, blue chip company schemes, okay. Small capitalization, the companies which are having small capital value are included in small cap scheme, okay. Aggressive in the sense the companies which are showing their aggressiveness in the market, okay, maybe in earning profit or maybe in the gaining the momentum in share market, okay, they are included in this category. So there are plenty of schemes under equity as well as debt also, okay. For debt, it is sufficient to have government securities and corporate bonds, okay. But under equity shares, there are plenty of schemes, okay. They run mutual funds, run plenty of schemes, and investors, they are going to select the what you know um, the funds which are liked by them, and sometimes they take prior guidance from the investment scheme runner, that means in a mutual fund company. So they themselves, okay, through their agents, they are going to guide the investors in selection of the right kind of scheme, okay. So this is about the third thing about mutual fund houses. Then fourth one is there will be investment on more companies, so the funds are well diversified. So that means uh, as Warren Buffett said, so putting all the eggs in a single basket or in a one basket is not worthy, and keeping the eggs in many basket it is worthy. Okay, so that means it is better to put all the eggs in different basket than that of keeping in one basket. That means it's talking about the diversification. Okay, let me give you an example of the advantage of diversification. So I think in the previous semester, that is in the fifth semester, I explained to you, but again we'll see the advantage of having diversified portfolio. So for example, at present you may be observing that uh, the shares of pharmaceutical companies are day by day they are gaining momentum. It's because of the COVID. Okay, because there is somewhat health emergency in the nation, everywhere in the world. Okay, the the medicines, they are very essential now, and there is demand for the medicines, and companies which are involved in medicines, definitely they are in demand in the share market also. So each and everything is linked together. Fine. Now let us assume that now we'll get a certain situation where the health emergency will going to stop. That means everything uh, will become normal. Now in that situation, it is definite that the share price of the companies will going to fall. Okay, because the investors they stop seeking the pharmaceutical companies, and they divert their interest towards some other companies. So instead of having investment in one sector, that is pharmaceutical sector, pharma. Okay, pharmaceutical sector, suppose if I am having a 50,000 rupees, so it is better to diversify this 50,000 in at least five sectors. Okay, at least five sectors. Suppose 10,000 for pharmaceutical, 10,000 for banking, 10,000 for, okay, 10,000 for uh, maybe some other service sector. Okay, 10,000 on industries, 10,000 on telecommunication, so like that. Okay, so if I diversify, if one or two sector, okay, in things in one or two sectors, even if it goes wrong, in some other sector the things they help to gain momentum, so that the overall return of the portfolio, so that stabilizes, or so there will be no much loss in return from the total portfolio. But instead of keeping, or instead of doing this kind of investment, suppose if I invest entire 50,000 in one sector, that is pharmaceutical, if something goes wrong in the pharmaceutical field, in that situation I have to suffer a huge loss. Okay, so in order to avoid losses, or in order to minimize risk, it is better to have a portfolio, well diversified portfolio. And the mutual fund companies they do this. Okay, because individuals they won't be having sufficient knowledge over this portfolio and all. Okay, how to select the shares, how to select what how to do candle, I mean to say technical analysis, how to do fundamental analysis. So these are all the things are in what these are all the things are done by the mutual fund companies. So they will do, or they will have a well diversified portfolio, so the companies return will be maximum, and the shareholders or the unit holders of the mutual fund company, so definitely rewarded by this. So this about the mutual funds. Okay, why mutual funds are existence. Okay, the next will see the meaning of mutual funds. So after knowing why mutual funds are in existence, now let us move towards the meaning of mutual funds. Uh, the, probably the discussion of previous points uh, may give you a clear cut idea about mutual funds, okay, and their existence. Now, a mutual fund can be simply defined as a pool of money collected from public to be invested to realize specific investment objective of the investor. Okay. Now here, mutual funds. Okay. I'll explain their functions so that you can draw the meaning of mutual funds. Okay. Now let us assume that there are 10 investors. Okay, sorry, 12 investors. Fine. Now, each investor is lacking in knowledge. They don't know how to select shares, which share is good, which share is not good. He don't know about debt instruments. Okay, he don't know about anything about the capital market. So in that situation, so at present situation, you take the present situation itself, they are having certain savings. Okay, every year they used to save, say, 50,000. Every year, all 12 members, they save 50,000 each. And keeping this 50,000 in FDs hold no good, because the return on FDs somewhat 5% to 6%, only that much, and there is no much return. Now, what these 12 members can do is, definitely they are going to seek certain avenues where they'll get the maximum return. So the mutual fund is the one thing where they can get the maximum return. How mutual fund work is, they run, as I said earlier, various schemes. Okay, various schemes. They collect money from these investors, 50,000 each. Okay. All the 12 investors, they are going to collect, let us assume, okay, through scheme, they are going to collect 50,000 each from all the 12 investors, and whatever money they have collected, money will be invested through schemes through purchase of equity shares and debt instruments. And the selection of equity shares and schemes depends of debt instruments depends upon the schemes. Okay, whether the mutual fund scheme is on equity or it is on debt, it depends. And in return, the units are whatever ಏನೆಲ್ಲ shares ಮತ್ತು debt instruments purchase ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ scheme through, ಆ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥದ್ದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಹಣ ಬೇಕೋ ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಆ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಸರೆಂಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹೌ ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ work. So in short, mutual funds can be simply defined as a pool of money. Pool of money in the sense, see here, 50k into 12 members. So it's a pool of money. So this is collected through or collected from the 12 investors here. But in practical sense, the number of investors are more. Okay, maybe 50,000, maybe 1 lakh, it depends. And the whatever money collected, so that will be invested in equity shares and debt instruments depending upon the risk bearing capacity of the potential investors or investors. Okay, through schemes, and in return the investors are allotted with the units. Okay, and after certain tenure, suppose investors, if they want urgent money, or if they think that it is better to stop holding investment in mutual funds, they can redeem their investment, and uh, at the present value of the market rate, or at the present market rate, they can redeem their units, and they can withdraw their money back. So this is about the meaning of mutual funds. Now let us move towards the formation and management of mutual funds. Formation and management of mutual funds. Okay, now here mutual funds in India must be established under the Indian Trust Act of 1882. Suppose if you want to form a mutual fund, or if you want to form a mutual fund company, so that has to be established, must be established under must be established under the Indian Trust Act. Indian Trust Act of 1882. So this is the first condition to form any mutual fund. Then second thing, it must be registered with the SEBI under SEBI regulations. Okay, must be registered with the SEBI under SEBI regulations of 1996. Regulations of 1996. Okay, so these two things are very essential. So to form a mutual fund, first it must be established under the Indian Trust Act of 1882. Then it must be registered with the SEBI under SEBI regulations of 1996. So SEBI, that is a Securities Exchange Board of India. Since mutual funds are involved with the securities, so it has to be registered under SEBI, under the SEBI regulations. Okay, these regulations are specially related to mutual funds. SEBI regulations, mutual funds of 1996. Now let us move little further. Structure of mutual funds. Structure of mutual funds. Now here, mutual funds are promoted by the sponsor. Okay, sponsor is called as promoter. Sponsor or promoter, and he establishes mutual fund. Because of him, mutual fund will come into existence, and the sponsor again appoints other parties. Okay, sponsor appoints other parties to manage mutual fund, to manage mutual funds. Now here other parties include board of trustees, or directors, then asset management companies, AMC. So they are also and custodian. Okay. So these three things are, or these three members are appointed by the sponsor, and there is an agreement with the AMC, that is asset management company, and board of trustees. Okay. And custodian, he will hold all the shares and securities or investment made by the mutual funds. So I think that's it for today's session. We are going to discuss in detail in the upcoming session about all these parties who are involved with the mutual funds. We'll see you in the next session. Thank you.